Hey y'all, welcome to Hillbilly Garage. Well, we've been working on this, what we're calling the budget build here. Of course, obviously the budget has been blown on this deal. And from what I found out from other channels that I like to watch, I don't know how to do a budget build apparently, because I don't like the idea of reusing cam bearings. I don't like reusing main bearings, and I don't like reusing rod bearings. So, or rings for
It's
that
never
matter.
a budget build.
So, I guess I don't know how to do a budget build. But anyway, here at Hillbilly Garage, I guess we do revivals, right? So maybe the budget revival is what we should try to call this. But then again, when we first started, the oil pan, it was shot. It's rusted almost through, can't be reused. We threw all the bearings in the trash, started over. So anyway, the budget revival. But this is what I wanted to bring y'all up to speed on, because no matter what kind of build you're doing, whether it be budget or full on whatever, right? Got to pay attention to the details. And this is a detail that I wanted to bring y'all in on, because it's something, if I wouldn't have been checking stuff, this could have been bad, real bad. Because, we like to figure out what's going on with the stuff. And some of it is just guesses, because this was a barn find. It was actually literally in the back corner of the barn, or the shed, whatever you want to call it. And that's where it came from. But I think I figured out, maybe, possibly, why this thing was thrown in the back of the corner. My buddy told me it came out of a truck that he bought that's been parked since like 1981. And the truck is either a 76 or 78. I believe it's 78. No, anyway, it doesn't matter. But this was its second engine, or the original engine that was rebuilt. So anyway, but when we tore it apart, we found all kinds of forbidden glitter in it, all in it. So what I think happened is, after the first problem, which could have been flat cam or something, but I think it was a dirty rebuild, and they left the oil galleys full of trash, and that's what got it again. Or very possibly, it could have been the fact that this cam bearing journal right here, it's not aligned very well. And I didn't notice it, obviously, taking the old cam bearings out. But when I was putting new cam bearings in,
Stick your screwdriver in there. You can
I
see.
noticed, well, in order to get this oil hole to line up with the oil passageway that runs behind here, that's cut into the block, I had to push this bearing out past the machine surface where the soft plug sits. All right, because when this lip was sitting where it's supposed to be, back here where the tip of the screwdriver is now, the oil hole was completely blocked. There was absolutely nothing could come through. And doing your checks is how I found it. And how you find it is when you get your cam bearings in where you want, you can blow air through the main journal hole, or you can, shoot brake clean or WD-40 or, something, and watch and make sure that oil is coming out of the holes in your cam bearings. And this one was not. It was completely blocked, and that's why I had to drive it out this way to get the hole lined up. But then it's out past the machine surface where the soft plug is supposed to go. So we have to get this out of here, and unfortunately, once it's been driven in and you drive it out, it's no good. But in order to fix this problem, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to move an oil hole over closer to the outside, so that this surface will sit where it's supposed to, and it'll still get oil. So when I get that other bearing prepared, we'll be right back.
the new bearing?
It was, yeah.
But you can't use it now?
Nope. Okay. So you can see this is the machine surface where the soft plug is supposed to sit. And then this is 1/2 of the bearing surface. And then this is the backside. But of course, all of this is, this is just extra meat. But your oil hole is supposed to sit in the middle of this oil passageway right here. And
where is it? It's all the way up. I don't even see it. Where is the oil hole? It's right all the way up here.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. This groove right here is where the oil circulates.
Oh.
That's why I can clock the holes where I want them at 3 o'clock, because the oil travels outside of that and then goes through the hole in the bearing. All right, so what I've done is I've measured to find out from where my soft plug surface is. You can't stand in the sun.
Oh,
that's
sorry.
the only light we got.
Okay.
All right. So I've measured from the inside of the lip where the soft plug goes to get past the lip on my oil passageway, and I come up with 200 thousandths gets me past that lip. So I have moved the hole to the edge of 200 thousandths, which will actually put this on the back side of the galley, but I didn't want to get too awful close to the outside. And you can see the outside edge of that's 200 thousandths. And then that one is 3,000. So we moved our hole over a little bit to get us closer to the outside so that we can drive this bearing in further so that we can get our soft plug in there where it's supposed to be. And when we get that in there, we'll be right back. All right, Joe. Now you can see I got my hole back at 3 o'clock. This will be 12 from the back side. So over here it'd be 3 if you were looking at the front. And you can see now that we are with the machine surface, where our soft plug is going to go. But you can also see, if you look right down in here, that is the back side of the oil passageway right there. So we are open to the oil passage, and we've got our cam bearing in there where it needs to be instead of hanging out. Now, thanks to my buddy Brian from Salter Racing Engines, this is the excellent way to get this sorted out, because we don't want to risk obviously not having any oil flow there. I didn't want to put that hole too close to the edge and make the bearing weak, but I also wanted to be able to get my soft plug in there like it's supposed to and have the bearing sitting in the proper place to carry the cam journal. Cam journal. So anyway, like we were saying earlier, details. Okay, this, I don't know what, like I said, we call it a budget build, run-of-the-mill build, revival, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. In other words, it's not going to be a race motor. All right, this is actually our parade motor for the Veterans Day parade. We'll have a video on that. But then again, it's going to be a fine truck motor, car motor, whatever. All right. But you got to pay attention to the details. This one here, this one is just an average. This will probably be a derby motor or something like that. It's 2-bolt main, nothing special. But while working on it, I have discovered that it does need to go to the machine shop, so we may upgrade it to another project. And back here, we have one that is beautiful and all new except for the block. This is stroker here. And, you know, the details are no different, no matter what the end price is going to be. Now, this one, obviously, has got some more money invested in it. Got all new parts. The budget build is bearings and rings. And then the mid-range, or whatever you want to call that one, it's going to have some machine shop work to do. But it's the details that you have to pay attention to and look out for. Checking to make sure that your oil holes all line up, and checking to make sure that, you know,
You chamfer the block.
you chamfer, you dress up all the edges, get rid of all the roughness. I mean, these kind of things, they don't cost you anything to, well, I mean, once you buy the tools, but to take away the casting flash and, you know, dress up your return holes to make sure that they flow good.
Filing your bearings down for
checking your bearings when you pull them out of the box to make sure that there are no little burrs or anything left over from the machining process. Make sure the edges are good, and when you pull out your thrust bearings, you know, make sure that you have nothing that'll catch your fingernail on these back edges and the surfaces here, that to make sure that when you put it down into the journal, it doesn't spread these out and give you a false reading on your thrust. These are all just details.
the oil pump. Even you chamfered that too, didn't you? I think on strokers, I think you did.
Oh yeah, on the chamfering the oil inlets on the main caps. No, cranks in. Yeah, it's still open. Right here. Chamfering this valley right here to make sure that oil flows good out of the oil pump and up into the block, around dressing up these edges around where your oil filter goes. These are all things that help to improve the way this thing's going to operate.
And along with not changing your oil, doing a dirty rebuild, which is what? How would you explain a dirty rebuild?
What I think happened here is I think that they had some sort of cam issue and probably wiped the cam lobe or something, and they just pulled the camshaft and the lifters out. Probably changed. I'm sure they at least changed the oil, if not took the oil pan off. But I don't think they opened up any of the oil galleys and flushed the metal shavings that were circulating in this motor.
Because what happened? Do you still have those bad pistons? All of the pistons were locked up in this motor.
Yeah, the wrist pins were all seized in the pistons, and when I took the main cap bolts off, where oil can get on top of those main cap bolts, they were all covered in forbidden glitter.
So you can skip steps and do what we call a dirty rebuild, but you're throwing money down the drain because you're going to end up rebuilding your engine sooner rather than later. Where if you just take some extra time.
And none of that costs you any money. You take these oil galley plugs out, you take a piece of 5/16 bar stock, or you can use all thread, and you run through the other end and you knock out the 3 in the front. You take this one out, you reach a rod down through this one after the main cap's off, and you knock that other one out. Take the one off right here, and then you can just pressure wash it. You can use Dawn dishwashing liquid and warm water and brushes and oven cleaner and high pressure water,
pipe cleaners,
and pipe cleaners, and pick up a brush like this one your local hardware store. Plumbers use this to clean gas lines, natural gas lines, and propane lines behind stoves and dryers and things of that nature. And look, they reach through a small block beautifully.
And that's the kind of things we use on a budget build.
Chuck it up in your drill, spray these full of oven cleaner, run it back and forth with your drill. Take a smaller one and you can go down in these holes and up through the other side and in through this one. And brush all that out with warm soapy water and then use high pressure water to rinse it off.
Because a budget revival, if you take your time, it'll be a good solid engine that'll last you a while. Whereas if you do a dirty rebuild, who knows how long you have left.
Yeah, you're asking for disaster, because if you don't clean the metal shavings out of your block, they will find their way into places that's going to cause you catastrophic damage. And like I said, if it wasn't for having to replace pistons and buy an oil pan and stuff, then, this, and come to find out the heads were junk, but that had nothing to do with the rest of this. That was because they weren't taken care of. But anyway, you can successfully revive your engines and try to keep the cost down, do all this work yourself, and still have a quality turnout when you get done. I don't have to show you, the pistons will not move on wrist pins. And it was a booger getting this thing apart where, I couldn't get the crank to rotate. But we just kept working at it, gently moving things around, one piston at a time, until we finally got it to where they would come out.
So this one's Veterans Day Parade.
This is our parade motor.
She's going to be classic American colors.
Yep. She's going to be beautiful, so if you live anywhere in or around Ripley, come on out to the parade and you can see it and hear it.
Yeah, you'll hear it before you see it.
All right, y'all. Well, I believe that's enough today. Remember, like, subscribe. Visit hillbillygarage1215.biz, B-I-Z.
I just redid it.
Maybe that's why people are having trouble finding it. If you're looking for .com or .org, you're not going to find it. It's .biz. hillbillygarage1215.biz. And go check out the merchandise that we have. We got a cool new shirt. I think everybody's going to like that. Our original classics are still available. We got stickers. Communicate with us. Reach out to us through email. You can reach out on R&B Engine Revivals on Facebook. Get in touch with us. Keep sending them comments. We love when people send the comments. I like getting those conversations going. All right, we'll see y'all. Bye.